I've been spending $724,000 per month on Performance Max campaigns alone, generating a 3.84x ROAS to make back $2.7 million just from PMax. And in this video, I want to tell you absolutely everything you should be aware of when it comes to Performance Max campaigns. Now, what you want to understand on a very top fundamental level is Performance Max campaigns, it's really not just a campaign type. Rather, it's a whole ecosystem of different things and different approaches, all segmented within one major campaign type. And this is mainly because not only does a Performance Max campaign go after your product, showcase them on shopping placements, but it has the ability to go after search, YouTube, display, discovery. And because of that alone, Performance Max campaigns should never be treated as a one-size-fits-all approach. Now, the first major thing you want to understand from Performance Max campaign, and this is something I understood after 4 years of running Performance Max, spending hundreds and thousands of dollars a month on them, is majority of your scale won't come from how you set up that PMax. Rather, it's going to come from the product feed itself. Because at the end of the day, even though Performance Max is supposed to be like a jack of all trades campaign, rather more of a black box campaign with a lot of different placements and whatnot, it's going to still focus more on your products, especially if you have a very large product catalog. And because of that, your product feed is super important. Now, I like to think of the product feed with Performance Max campaigns as the interest targeting that you would do on Meta ads or TikTok ads, because essentially that's what the product feed is. It's designed to basically tell the PMax campaign's algorithm what's the right keywords to go after, what kind of product you sell, what's your quality score, so on and so forth. And because Performance Max campaigns are generally automated bidding only, what that means is your product feed has that much more importance. Your keywords literally tell the Performance Max campaign everything it needs to know in terms of the algorithm, going after your right audience, who it should not go after, and so much more. And because it's such a smart bidding based campaign type and approach, your quality score is essentially the most crucial thing that you should be focusing on with Performance Max campaign. That's why I say if you are just kind of starting to scale with Google ads, or if you're not really achieving that great results with Google, stay away from PMax, because if your results are already bad, the chances are high that your quality score is actually low. And then if you now try to run a PMax on top of that, well, combining that with a low quality score is just doesn't make sense, and it's going to lead your brand further down the wrong rabbit hole. But that's what I see generally when I'm working in auditing brands I handle under my agency, Your Marketing, which, by the way, if you run a brand doing $50,000 or more per month in revenue, you need some extra help scaling to the next level with Google ads, go onto my website at yourmarketing.com, schedule a completely free call with me, and let's see how we can potentially work together and make that happen. But second thing you want to know about Performance Max campaigns is your asset groups section within PMax. It's like the ad copy section on Meta ads. Now, when I say asset groups, what I'm essentially referring to is, for example, if we go inside this Performance Max campaign right here, the asset group section, these asset groups you have right here, you could have 1, you could have 5, 10, 20, 50, whatever your strategy is. But think of this as the ad copy section. That's generally how it's supposed to work, which means on Meta ads, the only reason why you would have multiple ad copies inside one ad set or one campaign is because you want to A/B test something related to that ad copy, maybe a different creative, maybe a different copy, etc. And same thing goes with Performance Max. This means you should be using that as the A/B testing section, where you're A/B testing different product images or different brand images, signals, search themes, and so much more. Because the reason why I say this is I see so many brands treated as a black box where you just have a one lump sum asset group with a bunch of things in there, a bunch of audience signals, and so on and so forth, and you're just hoping and praying the PMax campaign starts to work. Well, technically, that's not how it's supposed to work. I mean, it'll gladly take your money, but it's not going to provide you the returns you're looking for. So the best way to scale long term with PMax is to A/B test within the asset groups. But third major thing you want to know is Performance Max is about vertical scaling, not horizontal scaling. I know PMax offers you 5, 10 different placements via the asset groups. Now you can go on YouTube, display, demand gen, discovery, and so on and so forth. But the reality is the budgets and bids is what you should be focused on with Performance Max campaign, and you should want to scale vertically, not just by adding a bunch of different assets and whatnot in there. The key to scale with Performance Max is to go after that one specific thing which works, ideally after shopping placements, and then after that increase the budgets, increase the bids, or decrease restrictions as needed. And then if you want to scale to other placements that Performance Max covers, just launch its own standalone campaign like a YouTube campaign or a demand gen campaign. No need to make a pmax a jack of all trades, because that's not what it's designed to do. And more important than what you should know is what you should avoid. First major thing you want to avoid with Performance Max is going all in on pmax when your product feed is not nailed down. You need to get your product feed perfected, make sure it's with the right product images, titles, attributes, all the information you can provide. Generally, the more relevant that info is and the higher quality information you provide with high perceived value, the better that pmax campaign will generally perform. And you want to avoid using any types of bad or generic images. I see so many brands where they have just the most generic images that are the same images, by the way, for each asset group or different Performance Max campaign strategy. And that's really not ideal, because what that does is it puts your entire account into the generic account category for Google Ads, because Google sees that you're doing the same approach with all of these different Performance Max campaigns you have going on, because it can look at the data and understand if the CTRs are the same, which generally, if you're using the same images and everything in between, then it's going to be pretty much around the same area. And it doesn't really give you room to scale your quality score or your ad account profitably and properly as a Performance Max campaign is designed to do. But follow all of these things and your account will be scaling with no time with Performance Max campaigns. But if you run a brand doing $50,000 or more per month in revenue, you need some extra help scaling to the next level with Google Ads, go on to my website at yourmarketing.com, schedule a completely free call with me, and let's see how we can potentially work together and make that happen.